Okay. Figured I'd make a video of this. I wasn't going to, but I thought, well, I don't know, maybe this might help somebody, I don't know. So I have a bunch of 308 brass, and this is mostly ammo that I bought at Walmart. I'm trying to think of the company, but for some reason I can't think of the brand of ammo I buy. I don't know. But I know it's that cheaper 308. The head stamps are MKE. I don't know if this will focus on it. Not that it really matters. But, and if I can think of the name of that ammo, before this ends, I'll tell you. If not, I'll put it in the description box. But I'm swaging the primer pockets because it has a crimp on it. And so here you can see, you know, part number, rcbs, swager. And yeah, this looks goofy, don't it? You get this, and this is you'll see what this is for. I have the classic cast breech lock, and I used to have the not the other one, just a breech lock Challenger, the aluminum. This one's the steel, the classic cast. If you've got the aluminum one, if you got the breech lock Challenger, then what RCBS provides will work. But on the classic cast, you have the oversized ram. So you have to make some sort of adapter. So this is what I come up with just in a pinch. And this goes here, and then I have two washers glued together. And this had to be drilled out. I can't remember what diameter, but it sits on top. Okay. So I'm going to move you again. And then you see the die up here. So this ain't necessarily about setting this up, but I do want to show you a few things. So I'm looking for a piece of brass that I can really show you. Alright, well, see, if you look at this one, I countersunk this, okay? You can see, if I can hold this still, you can see where I countersunk it to take out the crimp. So I doubt this will even do anything. Yeah, all the way to the bottom, nothing. Now you can see where this comes into play, though, because once you ram that nipple or the swager up into the primer pocket, when you come down, you've got to see how you've got to pull it down so far that it pops it off. Okay, but that wasn't a big deal because I countersunk that. So that must have been a piece that was already reloaded. So we're going to see if I can get this to focus. Okay, now this one might be countersunk as well, but have a look at that. Now let's try this. Yeah, it was countersunk as well. Well, maybe there will be one here that I haven't done. Okay, this is a good one. Now you can see a little bit of that green iris paint left over and how that looks. Okay, focused in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we're back down. Hold your piece of brass. Ugh. Okay, so it takes a pretty good amount of force to pop that back out. Okay, now you can see the difference. Seems like, okay. Now in that corner where you can see it's really shiny, that's where what it does is it rolls that burr out, smashes it, essentially it smashes it back in on itself. Okay, so the whole point of this video is this. This tool works. As far as setting it up, it's kind of hit or miss because of, like, I'm going to see if I can get this to focus again. When you set this up, at least in my experience of 2 days is all I've used this tool. I've had it for a while, but depending on, like, rim thickness from the outside to the inside, because what you have in this tool is a rod, and depending on how high or low you set that rod depends on how much it's going to push from the inside down. So if this rim thickness from back here to out here, like in between my finger where it starts, whatever, if that thickness if it's thicker, that rod is going to start pushing sooner and will push that piece of brass deeper. If it's slightly thinner, it's not going to push that piece of brass down on the nipple or the swage, or it's not going to push it as far. So really, setting this up is kind of hit or miss. You have to feel on the ram when you're going up in there. You have to sort of feel how much you're going. So, and every time you do this, I'm just going to pick a random one. Every time that you do this, you go down and come back. There's always that where you've got to ram it out of there because it really gets caught. So in all honesty, I'm going to use this tool and finish up what little remaining brass I have left, and all my brass will be swaged. But honestly, I think I'm going to go back to using a countersink and just countersinking. I know a lot of people don't, or they kind of frown at people who countersink that to take that out. And you can see this one's probably been countersunk the way it's shining down in there. I know a lot of people frown on that because essentially, as far as I'm concerned, what you're doing is you're decreasing the amount of your pocket. When you take that, when you countersink that, two problems with countersinking. First, as far as I'm concerned, what you do, I'll use my tip of my calipers, is you're decreasing the distance from here down to the bottom of the pocket. This flat, this wall, if you will, that you're pressing the primer into. You decrease that, not by much, but I mean, you are taking that away. Second thing about countersinking them is if you don't hold it, I'm gonna say flat, when you countersink it, like if you try to go like this to each one, you're not gonna have, and you're gonna miss a little bit of that burr. You're gonna miss a little bit of that. Excuse me, where they put that that crimp. You're gonna miss a little bit of that every time. I mean, it just never fails. There you'll be loading. You'll be in the middle of loading, and this is where it happens to me, like especially with 223, because I have a Lee progressive press, the Loadmaster, and when I do 223 on it, it seems like I always miss a little bit of that crimp, and I'll be right in the middle of a good load where I've went 50, I got 50 or 60 pieces, it's been rocking and rolling, and I go to put a primer in, and it crushes it because I didn't get some of that crimp out of that pocket. So the good thing, the only good thing as far as I'm concerned about using the swage tool, at least the one that you do in your press, the only good thing about it is that when you run a piece of brass through that, your crimp is gone. All the way around, it's gone. It's uniform and it's gone. But everything else about this tool sucks, because if you want to do a batch of these up while people are sleeping, you can't, because every time you go to pop that out, it's always a struggle. If you reload in your house, you're always going to have that force and a bang. The countersink is much quicker, and if you do inspect them real close before you throw them in your done bin, then you can possibly avoid having a little bit of that crimp left over. So that's just something I want to, if you don't have the money for this tool, but you do have a countersink that will hit that, then by all means use a countersink. And something else you might want to do is, if you have on your drill press a vise, put a block of wood in there, make sure everything's relatively square, and let it sit on a block of wood and bring your countersink down to it. That way you're roughly getting everything's flat, and you can take that burr out concentric to the primer pocket itself. But this is the first time I've used this tool, and probably most likely going to be the last time that I use it, because some of these go on there, they're tight. They're really tight. It's a real pain in the ass. So that's just my little review. I don't hate the tool by any means. I don't hate it. But it's like, oh my God, it's a pain. Now maybe the RCBS ones where it's the swager with the arm and you mount it to a bench, that one might be okay. I don't know. I've never used that type. But as far as swaging on a press goes, after doing, I don't know, I've probably done almost 700 pieces. I'm absolutely sick of this tool, so just my 2 cents. Not putting it down, I'm just saying it's not really for me, so take it for what it's worth.